Hi, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the global time zone, and time is a myth anyway. And happy 11th of October. How is it going? And I hope by now reading
Depending
has
on where you are.
and I hope by now reading has become a leisure thing and a fun thing, hopefully. If not, then do find one great book. That's all it takes to completely shift perspectives about how fun reading can be. So I have posted the link for the sheet on the chat. Go to the top of the chat, click on the sheet. I think it's open to preview. And if you're a non-member, download it. Click the download button and keep it with you, because the sir, been listening to you for a while. Must say you have a very meditative voice. That's because I work on my throat chakra and crown chakra. But I have not heard from you, Anmol. So keep participating. Otherwise, I don't know whether you exist or not, right? And can help. Hi, good evening. How are you guys? We are going to work on more RC, and the kind of ideas that we are dealing with is as simple as this. This snapshot, this is from earlier passage in the day, and this is from day 0, the first reading skills video from like 5 years back. A foundation video is about this idea only, that any information can be divided into general idea and specifics, or there is always this one idea where, and it is elaborated a lot more. If I can grab the idea, I can skim the elaboration, understand it faster, go through it faster, etc. And this is the brainwashing stage of it. I mean, idea is understood, I have noticed it, but now we are repeating it so many times that by another couple of days, or if not already, it should be in place, right? Surcharge, Maverick, there is 100% surcharge for you now. Okay, so give me a second, observe this PPT for a second. I have to throw the cat out. It sounds rude, but it's just that she's playing. Come here, come here. Right. Hi, good evening to everyone. Our agenda is working with the CAT 19 passage, but solving the passage is not the big deal. The challenge or the agenda, let's say, is to master the process of understanding or decoding or fighting through the passage, and you should do it. So my focus will, I mean, I'll solve the questions anyway, but the main focus will be repeating our ideas of better reading, right, and working with them. So yeah, kidney is very expensive these days. Time is a, haven't you heard it in sci-fi movies, etc., that time is a myth, the linear nature of time. There are movies about that and documentaries, and the arrow of time is a function of consciousness, and maybe the universe by itself doesn't have a time function. So a lot of interesting stuff out there. Sohob Ram Singh Pundir. My Mami Jis are from Pundir people, so we are like Pundir. So, shall we get started? First of all, do we know the idea of general and specific? Now I will use gen spec to reduce my time further. Do we know the idea of gen spec, general and specific, and how important it is, and how it's like a game changer if you can learn it? And when I say game changer, I don't mean game changer advice given by a lot of other wise people. I mean, actual, learnable, practical, measurable, quantifiably visible kind of a skill which can help a lot. General specific. So Maverick says, Mav- "Hi Ashutosh, I rock you, you diamond." Rishabh says yes. Maverick says has retracted his message of donating the kidney. Durgesh says yes. Maverick says yes. Ritam says yes. So these people I already know. They know general specific. So I'm asking the other 15, 16 uh, guys, right? And in case you do not know, you can always start with the basic playlist, go through that. For very many years, I'm not kidding, for very many years, just the first four videos were enough to um, like make a difference to those people who are paying attention. So this is like extra overload, juicy icing on top, cherry, somebody putting into your mouth. But for the keen-minded, if somebody who's on a self journey, the first 3-4 videos can be enough. What I'm demonstrating over and over again is that the same ideas. This is Cat 19, and we're using the same ideas from day one, just the way it should be, just like in maths, right? Uh, Depends on you whether you need coaching or not. Maverick says, "Aaj ka newspaper was amazing." Anshita, watch some of your con videos as someone with maths phobia. Okay, you're welcome. That's my job. That should be anybody's job. And math phobia is the first layer that we need to tackle. So the basics are for you. But don't stop there. Once the phobia is over, then go and master it as well. There's lots of practice loaded in the course. Maverick enjoyed the newspaper. Great. So I think our 5 minutes are more than up. Let's get started with the passage. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look for general specific. I'm always going to look for idea and elaboration at a paragraph level, at a sentence level, because I want the idea, the elaboration. I don't want to get lost in it or stuck in it. Later I will read it if required. I will ask questions. I will map the information. I will meta read, right? I'm not only reading, I'm observing the structure of information as laid out by the author of the article, right? So let's get started. Okay, a little more below. Yeah. Okay, so this is cat 19-5, and we can start from the top or the bottom, anywhere is okay. Where should we start off from? Top, the first paragraph or the last paragraph? Let's start from the last paragraph. So I'm starting with the last paragraph. I hope it's visible enough on the screen. Let me make everything slightly bigger, why not? Bottom. So I'm starting with the last paragraph. It says topophilia connotes a positive relationship. Okay. So first thought that comes to my mind is that maybe the rest of the passage is also talking about topophilia. Now it doesn't matter whether I've heard the word or not or what it means. All I know is this is a term that is discussed in the passage and the details will be given to me. But so topophilia connotes a positive relationship, but, and I know after a but things change. So can I do a little prediction based on this but only? But, however, lekin, kintu, parantu, on the other hand, although, not only but also, these are all conjunction pointers that something is not only conjunctions of contrast and pointing to contrast. So if I'm looking at a positive relationship, can I predict that what will happen after the but is going to be a negative kind of a connection association with what? With the idea of topophilia. For beginners, right, if you're really struggling, just finding the repeating word can also be enough a lot of times. Great. But it is often is useful to explore the darker affiliations between people and place. So darker, positive relationship is positive. The negative word used is darker affiliations. Yes, no? And the contrast is happening around this particular keyword. So this is another major idea in part of our reading tools, paying attention to conjunctions because they are giving you some information, right? So this is the negative. Now, if I know that idea plus elaboration structure, the engine pulling the train, I know this is the engine, that there is a negative connotation or association with topophilia, and details will start now. Patriotism, literally meaning the love of one's terra patria or homeland, has long been cultivated by governing elites for a range of nationalist projects, including war preparation and ethnic cleansing. Long sentence, but even before I started, I knew I am talking about the negative or the side effects of topophilia, and then I've got it perfectly. This patriotism is a specific of the negative of topophilia, and the whole sentence is a box for me now. Are we okay with the idea? Yes. So darker, or basically now can I predict that maybe this paragraph is about the negative associations of topophilia? So maybe the rest of the passage will be about positive, or it will just explain what topophilia is. But I'm getting a map for the last paragraph that I'm talking about negativity, and this is one negative, patriotism, and the other one is residents of upscale residential developments have disclosed how important it is to maintain their community's distinct identity, often by casting themselves in a superior social position and by reinforcing class and racial differences. All those gates and walls around the societies that you guys live in are these examples of this only. So I'm getting two examples here of the idea that there are negative associations with topophilia, and one of them had to do with patriotism. This is one example that the author is using, and the other is residents of upscale residential developments. Are we okay so far? And if I zoom out now, I clearly see that words still jumping out at me. That's what I mean by making it bigger in comparison to the other text, right? That's the idea that I should remember from far away as well. That these are the examples of negative feelings of or negative aspects of uh, topophilia. Are we okay with that? Say a yes quickly. Yes, so Maverick has said yes. I will do a little more dive in because remember, one of my agendas is also to point out that you do not need to read everything. Think of it like a DILR set where you can approach the information according to the question, right? You in a lot of DI kind of sets, you don't have to go through everything. You understand the set and then you look at the question and then you go for specific information, right? Especially let's say in case of pie charts or bar graphs, right? You don't solve every bit of information, so take that approach as well. So keeping that experiment in mind, and so residents of upscale residential developments, I understood the story, and just as a beloved landscape is suddenly revealed, so too many landscapes of fear cast a dark shadow over a place that makes one feel a sense of dread or anxiety or topophobia. And if we have done even basic vocabulary training, we know philia is love and phobia is fear, and that's it, fear. So philia is love and phobia is fear. Do we know this, right? I'm hoping we do. Yes. Now at this point, I can actually tackle one question. I think all of you can tackle this question. Try this out. Try this particular question out. I just saw the word, it's right in front of me, and I see the question. And I think it's very easy to mark, choose the answer. And if it is easy, and you can mark the answer, Sritam, Gautam says 1, Sritam says 1, Anmol says 1, Maverick says A, Gaurav says A, Ashutosh says 1, Parvinder says 1, Sujit Pankaj says 1. Now, people will tell you, and I've heard all of this. Recently, I've been listening to other wise people also, and everybody is saying, like you read this word topophilia and you will realize it's a difficult passage, but I do not think so again, right? So, this was definitely a sitter, right? So, I know topophilia, and okay, by the way, in the last paragraph, we just read it. I think this is again one of those structural questions. You have already understood the idea, and while reading, I raised it anyway. Why is the author talking about residentialism, the upscale residential society, or patriotism? I'm waiting for this second question. Answers for second question. Sujit Sujit says 4. Rishabh says D. Ashutosh, everybody, all of you you have formed a cartel, guys. Gaurav says 4. Amol says 4. Now everybody will say 4. Gautam, Raju says 4. Maverick says D. Okay, great. So let me see what D says. Social exclusivism practiced by such residents in order to enforce a sense of racial or class superiority. So the lesson could be here, definitely could be that notice that just the last paragraph has already given me 2 marks with what 1.5 minute of effort, right? So therefore it is paramount to break your linear reading habit. My throat has gone sore shouting this out, that don't read linearly. And initially those who are uncomfortable, it's even more important for them to not read linearly. If you're good at reading, it doesn't matter whether you start from the bottom or the top, you'll manage. When I was doing the test, I did not have any strategy. I just read it, enjoyed it, marked the answer, moved on. I had to develop all of this while training people who don't know, have zero reading habit, right? So all of this is for that like struggle through learning approach. So yeah, I think I will not even discuss any of the answers because everybody got it right. This is one advantage, rare advantage of a live where everybody gets it right. You can skip the other options. In the pre-recorded ones, I have to cover every option. Okay, let's try one commonsensical question, really. Just using common sense, language, basic logic, can you try this question out? I think you can. I believe in you, bro. And sis, and sirs and ma'ams. Congrats. Now you might be thinking that we haven't read it at all, but some of you know this game already, and this is not the first time we are seeing it. Wah, wah. Proud of you. Proud of everyone. Shabash. Come on. Mahakal. Samrat Kilmish. Everybody says two, 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 two question mark, two double question mark, two. And Maverick says B, like a boss. Rishabh says two, Pratik says two question mark. So, can somebody explain? We haven't read the passage. How did you come to this conclusion that the answer is two? Take a minute. There is no hurry. When the mind processor is fast, you can go. I mean, time is not an issue. So please take your time and write your answers out. Meanwhile, I'll take the call and pick up my food. I'm waiting for why do you think this is the answer in your own words. You can write in Hindi also. Hello? हाँ जी हाँ स्टारबक्स के राइट में रास्ता है हाँ एकदम पीछे बोल रहा हूँ राइट बोल रहा हूँ स्टारबक्स के राइट मैं यार राइट बोल रहा हूँ क्या कर रहे हो आप स्टारबक्स के राइट साइड में रास्ता है स्टारबक्स के चिपका हुआ रास्ता है हाँ उसमें अंदर आ जाइए हाँ आप अंदर आ जाइए बेकरी की तरफ आके फिर रेड होइए अंदर आ जाइए समझ में आ जाएगा आपको बेकरी नहीं नहीं बेकरी की तरफ आइए हाँ जी बेकरी दिखी आपको हाँ कागज के राइट साइड में आप अंदर आए हो कि नहीं आए अरे इतना टाइम नहीं है बाबू मेरे पास माय गॉड how annoying is Swiggy so a lot of people have explained it Sunday is ending great is not an explanation love for place cannot be quantified because everybody has different choice and hence it is subjective actually it's the hint is given in the question why is it difficult to design and impossible to quantify why is it what are things which are impossible to quantify money can be quantified love cannot be quantified right so that kind of a hint is giving you something Anmol says Topo-Philo is usually difficult to generalize within the confines of quantity and structure as it is experiential. You guys are giving me, I think, data from the passage and you guys have read it. I'm saying without reading it, can I get to the answer a little bit commonsensically? Impossible to quantify means it is subjective. And just understanding it that it is difficult to design and impossible to quantify that is telling me that it is something which is subjective and personal and emotions driven and in that case the only answer left for me is B yes no yeah so I think the explanations people are giving me yeah so some from the word difficult to design and impossible to quantify And some people have gone to the passage, which is also absolutely fine, right? I mean, it's part of the process, it's legal, it's allowed to do that. Most people are doing that, right? But I hope you realize that for some of you who are just, I mean, comfortable with words and familiar with these ideas, you will see that, okay, I don't know what topophilia is, but if it is difficult to design and impossible to quantify, it must be because of people's response to that environment. So now if you notice, we are at the third question. Two of them were simply from the last paragraph. One of them was a little bit of a commonsensical, definitely attemptable. But if you read it, you will definitely answer it with ease. Are we okay with what just happened right now? Yeah? Three questions with just one para. But guys, remember this kind of a picking up of the question and answering requires verbal ability, not even reading, right? And what do I mean by verbal ability? Basic logic, little bit of worldly common sense, knowing these words like objective, I mean difficult to quantify means subjective. Objective means something that can be quantified. So a little bit of wordplay like that and you're good to go. Are we okay with that? This is some, yeah, people call me Dumbledore. I'll go to the door. Thank you.
सर मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा था
यार वो तो लाइफ ही ऐसा है ना, क्या करेंगे. My commentary to the Swiggy guy is life ही ऐसा है. You have to work hard. So my house is a little bit not the house. The this little space is an odd space. It's behind like a main building, and it's on a there's a lane on the right side of a cafe, right? So right next to the cafe there's a lane. But every time I tell these guys that okay, on the right side of the cafe there's a lane, they somehow turn around and they start talking about another building which is in front of it. And once they have it in their mind, right, and that's the problem with most caretakers also. Once you decide in your mind, okay, this is where my answer lies, then you will not look anywhere else. So even as I explain them, they keep looking at that building and looking around that building, whereas I am saying that thanks for listening to my pida with Swiggy, right? And other times what they do is also my house, so imagine a cafe on the right side there's a lane, right, which is a little dark. So again, people are not expecting to see that. On the same cafe's left side, there's another lane. They want to enter that lane because that is visible to them. And again, once they take that lane, no, even if you say right, right, they will say yes, left, left, right. So that's the magic of the brain power. So when this Swiggy guy, I shouted at him, he kept talking and then he's talking, I'm here, I'm here. I'm like, I don't have that much time. Then he finally found it on his own. So he's like, sorry, sorry. I was like, that's how life is. So thanks for the break. And because now I have food, I'm not worried about anything else. Not that I worry about food too much. Now let's revisit the passage just to understand this term. I have already gone through the last paragraph. Let's now this is just for fun reading. I hope you see that getting the marks part is fairly easy. So topophilia and its very close conceptual twin sense of place is an experience that, however elusive, has inspired recent architects and planners. So that question that we just saw, maybe I can find the answer here. Most notably new urbanism. So okay, I am getting the idea. Has inspired recent architects and planners, and the idea is elusive. Elusive is difficult to grasp or explain. Now more details now. Most notably new urbanism seeks to counter the perceived placelessness of modern suburbs and the decline of central cities through neo-traditional design motifs. Oh my god. But if you look at the questions, none of this was needed to answer anything. Although motivated by good intentions, such attempts to create places rich in meaning are perhaps bound to disappoint, as to our noted Purely aesthetic responses often are suddenly revealed, but their intensity rarely is long lasting. Topophilia is difficult to design for and impossible to quantify, and the word feeling appearing there is enough for you to understand that it's a feeling driven thing. You can't capture it in numbers, right? And such as Henry David Thoreau evoking a marvelously intricate sense of place at Walden Pond, and Tuan describing his deep affinity for the desert. These are examples of that high level of feeling for a place. So, by the way, topography is map making, understanding the terrain of a place, right? So, topo means a place and philia means love. So, essentially, topophilia means a love for a particular place. And I'm sure you have felt it in various iterations. Yes, no? Are we okay so far, or has it become too dense suddenly? So I'm getting, and now I can answer that third question perfectly in this half a minute of reading again. I'm moving backwards to the previous paragraph. Aesthetic appreciation is one way. Active reading says if you find one way, there must be a second way. Let me look for that second. This looking is called scanning. That finding the idea and going quickly through the details is known as skimming, right? So capture that tool. So that is one, and I'm looking for second. Okay, this is quite the opposite of a second topophilic bond. So there are two kinds of bonds. Let me quickly understand them as well. Aesthetic appreciation is one way in which aesthetic means to do with beauty, design, harmony, etc., in which people respond to the environment. And so aesthetic appreciation is one way that they respond to the environment. What is going to happen next? An example to explain, more elaboration. A brilliantly colored rainbow after the gloomy afternoon showers, a busy street alive with human interaction. One might experience the beauty of such landscapes that have seemed quite ordinary only moments or before, or that are being newly discovered, right? So, long story, there is a rainbow and you're like, oh, it's so pretty. And maybe it just rained and you suddenly become aware of the beauty. In the lockdown, in that extreme lockdown, I was like a major violator in terms of walking around alone with a mask and everything. But I was doing my evening walk. I had moved it to afternoons, and I found it beautiful. Like I could see old houses, and you could see deep into those houses. Normally, because of the traffic and everything, you can't see. So even me right now, I'm giving one more extra example to help you better understand the idea of how you can love a particular place, right? Okay, okay, okay. So that is one, and now this kind of detail, by the way, one is not my job. Second, it's for fun. Thirdly, it's not needed for that answering the question. So right now I'm just having fun, and I'm hoping you are too. Always a new idea with a passage, right? So the second topophilic bond, namely that of a acquired taste for a certain landscape and places that one knows well. And again, this idea will be elaborated further in the rest of the story. Let me repeat that. Namely that of the acquired taste for a certain landscape. This is the second topophilic bond. And in the rest of the paragraph, now I can, without reading, I can guess what is going to happen. More details are going to be given. So when a place is home, or when a space has become the locus of memories, blah blah blah, it frequently evokes a deeper set of attachment than those predicated purely on the visual. So the previous one was visual, and this is based on feeling or attachment. Easy enough. So now zoom away from this and see, can I see two types of topophilia? One where I like the visual aspect, and the other is my attachment to it. And I think I know enough, but just for fun, go back. As defined by the geographer Yi Fu Tuan, topophilia. My computer is gone. Topophilia is the affective bond between people and place. So, okay, great. I got a definition here as well. So, what we did with those three questions was extreme parkour mixed martial arts, right? Not everybody might be at that level, but I'm saying if you read it, then everything is there anyway. So keep at it. Here's 1974 book. So what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the paragraph? He is going to explain how topophilia works. If needed, you can read it, or indeed you can completely skip it. Anmol says third type can be instinctive. I do not know whether there is a third type or not. I just saw two so far. And topophilia, and then if I look at the next paragraph, I mean the afterwards, architects and their problem in quantifying, they're trying to do it, and a lot of randomness. If in case there is not a question on this, somebody will read this and get stuck and get scared and say, oh my god, cat is like very difficult. So, and if I want to, let me read this quickly as well. His 1974 book set forth a wide-ranging exploration of how the emotive ties with the material environment varies greatly from person to person and in intensity, subtlety and mode of expression. So there is attachment, but it differs from person to person. Factors including one's depth of response to the environment include cultural background, gender, race and historical circumstances. And Tuan also argued that there is a biological and sensory element. Topophilia might not be the strongest of human emotions. Indeed, many people feel utterly indifferent towards the environments that shape their life. So some of us are very attached and some of us are like, I don't care. But when activated, it has the power to elevate a place to become the carrier of emotionally charged events, or to be perceived as a symbol. And then later you saw how the same topophilia can be converted into patriotism and then used for ethnic cleansing, by the way, which we are seeing live in our world around us, right? So yeah, I think I have enough, and if not, I can always go back and check the passage. I think we have done these questions, so let's try the remaining ones. And again, remember, always remember, one answer is correct, three are not. That means there will be something wrong with them. They will not somehow not be in tune with what is written. There will be something obviously wrong or logically wrong. Do you guys know why? I mean, I've had this question for a long time. Do you know why we have opposable thumbs? Why do we have opposable means it's in front of the fingers, right? Why do we have opposable thumbs? Hint, hint. Guys, the opposable thumbs are for liking the video. So, thank you. Please pause and like the video and tell a friend or a family member. Yay, yay. Tricked you. Now, let's look at the question. I think some people have given me the answer already. B, 2, 2, 2 again, 2. So, question number, whatever is the question number, closest in meaning. Yeah, I think everybody got it right. In case you did not, I'm kind of jumping the gun. The tendency of many cultures to represent their land as motherland or fatherland as may be seen as expression of topophilia. Yes, very commonsensical. The only thing that could throw you off was that later some negatives were also mentioned, but patriotism without the negative is an example of topophilia, and in fact it was given as a negative example, but still an example of topophilia only. The rest were just odd and incorrect. The French are not overly patriotic, but they will refuse to use English. So this is language or not place driven, but syntax driven. So no. Scientists have found that most creatures, including humans, are either born with or cultivate a strong sense of topography. Is the passage about topography or is it about topophilia or topophobia? No. Nomadic societies are known to have the least affinity for the lands through which they traverse because they tend to be topophobic. Is he talking about any particular kind of society and whether they are or not topophobic or topophilia? No, not necessarily. He was discussing the overall broad idea of what topophilia is. So I hope everybody sees why the uh, no, it's not for. Is it for free? People have paid for this, bro, and a lot of money also from time to time, and without asking also. Okay, that's the special part. Uh, yeah. So I think everybody got the answer. I think you will be able to answer this question as well. What you need to again realize is even this question could have been no. Okay, let's not do that. Let's try it out. So which of the following statements, if true, could be seen as not contradicting the arguments in the passage? Now all you have to do is remember that it's like a top level exam. So the passage might have multiple arguments. So go through, revise it quickly in your head. You don't need to, you just read it actually. And then evaluate the options. That's the game, right? Though it might require you to fact check in case it's not in your memory already. And pay attention, the question is not which of the following, if true, could be seen as not contradicting. That means the others will contradict the author and one of them will not. Two. I just gave this exam all. Sridham says 2, Parvinder says 2, Prateek says example, Sujit says 2, Sridham says it supports, yeah, Gaurav says 2, Maverick says B, Gautam says 2, Siddhant says 2, Anshita says 2. So great, I think everybody got it because this is what he's actually saying. One of his arguments is this, that it's negative, patriotism can be a negative thing. And rest of them, generally speaking, just for fact checking, and even if I say you have to read everything and answer the questions, it's still there, right? All the facts are still there. So no magic also, without any magic also, you can get to the answers. Do this for a few days so that you never get lost in the detail or overwhelmed by it. When you're not, when it's an easy read, just go through it, look at the questions. More often than not, you will get it right after a little bit of practice in reading. So just to check, generally speaking, the ties of the culture to people to their environment vary little in significance or intensity. Whereas I read that paragraph very quickly, but I saw people have different levels or according to their age, culture, training, biology, and some people don't feel anything. So I saw that people have all kinds of reactions. Here it is saying everybody has the same intensity, so it is contradicting what the author was saying. Yes. So one will not work for me. New urbanism succeeded in those designs where architects collaborated. I just remember architects, I don't even remember new urbanism. I remember architects, the issue was that they cannot capture this topophilic feeling. So if they succeeded, the author's point would fail again because the author was saying that they can't capture that feeling, right? Fourth, the most important, even fundamental response to our environment is our tactile and olfactory response. Again, how do you know this? That this is the most fundamental response. So Anmol is saying 4, but 4 is not the answer, or at least I think so. What is this last question only, right? Yeah, answer is B only. Are we okay with this passage? Completely clear. And how though the word might be difficult, topophilia, oh my god, but then you figure out the passage is very easy. and not very easy, but reasonable. This is the next. What is this magic technology where everything is flipped? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now you can read it. 97 Himanshu Rana, please tell me this like 3 times a day, right? In the morning and then a little in the afternoon. Everyone needs love, bro. Uh, can I read it now? Yeah. So this book, uh, and recently a documentary came out. What was it called? The Social Experiment. The recent lot of controversy recently. Even today's newspaper had an article about it. It was on Netflix, and it was I meant the Social Experiment or something. Anyway, the point being that how the algorithms trap you, right? Their main game is to trap you. My game is also the same thing, and how companies do that using this various algorithms, or what are the methods of. The book is called Hooked, and the image has a brain. Flip it as a brain, as a brain, because they're actually hooking your brain, and they are getting you trapped on those push updates and everything, right? And the documentary, that Netflix documentary, basically said that the purpose of the algorithm is not your benefit, it is the algorithm or the shareholders benefit. So not today, but tomorrow onwards I will partially discuss this book. And what I will do again, this is a non-fiction book, right? It's an ideas book. And what I will demonstrate when I do that is that general specific, if you can apply general specific to this kind of reading, you can finish this book in a couple of days. Why? Because I will read an idea, and then the author will give me 4 different examples how Facebook is doing it, how Instagram is doing it. But I'm a smart, clever bloke. So once I get the idea, why do I need 4 examples? I to move my, when you know that Netflix 10-second button where you can just click and skip the, when people are talking also, I'm kind of waving my hands in the air. I'm like, why isn't this person moving? Because I know the main idea now, and this is just elaboration, right? So it's not good for social contact. Don't use it in real life. But this will be the book under discussion. So if you're planning to, if you can find it in a PDF from, steal it from a library, beg, borrow, steal, etc. We'll discuss this, and it will help you in making future addictive products or getting out of the game of not being somebody else's puppet, right? So this is what we'll focus on this week. Genghis Khan is retiring. I am the new Genghis Khan, but this Genghis Khan is retiring. We have discussed it enough. For now, I recommend buying books, guys. Invest in books, and that's the thing. Social Dilemma. Thank you, Sujit. Netflix social. Everybody's telling me I'm not listening only, right? So, yes. Social Dilemma. Social Dilemma. Pratik, there is a whole loaded course of RC. Even if it doesn't happen, the course is loaded and it's available. So I think that's enough for today, because this is the third, no, this is the fourth. Why am I habitually going for Netflix? This is the fourth passage of the day, so I think we have done enough RC work. I just wanted to get it out of the way, then we can jump into other topics. What is the name of the Genghis Khan trilogy? I think it's called Wolf of the Plains by Con Eagledon. I will look for it. Wolf of the Plains by Con. Ah, beauty of Google. You don't even have to complete sentences. मैं बताऊँ? By Wolf of the Plains. Anybody wants to gift me? I have already had this book, then lost it to other people. book thieves everywhere. So if you are free and you're looking at like an adventure movie, or if you want to replace Netflix by more entertaining experiences, books are great. They're better than Netflix. Netflix is easier to consume. Books, once you start, then they're very, very easy. Though these days they're kind of fading out from people's attention. I said, gift me the book. Nikhil is saying, we will gift you, not I will gift you. We with five other people will. You gift me. Bloody hell. So this is the book, and this is the first one. It's a not a trilogy. It is a four books, and super fun, super readable. Not top 10 books for cat. A super fun book to read. Why do you need address? I will just give you my UPI ID, right? I will buy it by myself. You don't have to mail it to me. Or postbox number. Yeah, I will do that also. Why not? You can mail it. So, do you know? Notice this cleft below your nose, right? There's that little gap, no? You can't see it here because I have covered that gap like a man. But there is something. Yes or no? Yes. Yes, is there? Do you have this cleft, whatever you call it, little gap? The Akshay Kumar gap. What is the Akshay Kumar gap? Maverick, please. So everybody has that gap, right? Yes or no? Yes. So now, what if you? What is the purpose of that? Once again, what is the purpose of this gap? Or essentially, that do you know that we were once fish? Like we were all fishes. Uh, Actually, I mean, okay, a little far back we were monkeys and apes, and way before that we were fishes, and way before that we were like just like microbiotic organism, probiotic curd in the ocean. So this part in your lips, if you pick up your lips and try and close your nose like that, you will see that this part fits perfectly with that nose ka thing. That means this used to be attached like that. And then if you do that, you will see your fish face. So there was a period when the fishes were coming out of water and like being amphibious, right? So during that time, let's say if you want to swim underwater, you pick this up and you can block your nose and then swim deep inside. Some of this is a little bit of mixed bullshit, but it is true that this fits in with your nose and it is a heritage from when you were a fish. Don't tell this to your family members. They are convinced that they were just dropped from heaven and they will get very upset if you say, you were a monkey earlier. Do you know that? So, that is the. Yes, Maverick has got it perfectly. You use this and bang it on the machine to hit the like button, please. Anybody who does that makes a video of them hitting the like button with their cleft. I promise my village properties to them. Okay, so I hope that's enough, right, for today. For those, in case you missed the earlier session, today you have the opportunity to catch all of them by tonight, tomorrow morning, etc. Or if you haven't started from the basics, start with the playlist and you will understand all the games. Most people do in some time. So that's it. I will see you really soon. My scheduling is like this only. I announce it a few hours before. Live is not a part of the program. The bulk of the program is still all those extended videos and materials, etc. This is just me pushing the extra momentum because the exam is near. Winter is coming. So today, that's it. See you soon. My name is Ankur Suryavanshi. My courses are available here. Why can't I see the whole thing? But anyway, so that's it. See you. Tata. Bye bye. End stream. Anybody owns a Mac shop